How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you? How's your day going?
I'm doing great. I'm so sorry for my camera issue. It's not working properly.
Oh, no worries. I can keep mine off too, so it's not awkward.
So, first of all, I just want to start with the meeting saying that you are like my whole inspirational for like this whole sustainable journey.
That is so sweet. Thank you so much. I would like to know more about you too. It would be great if we can do a quick introduction.
Sure. So, I'm Atisha Parasani, and I just joined a new school where I really didn't have an identity so quickly. But we had this community project thing where we have to like pick something, a topic, and then we have to find a way of doing something for the community. So in the summer, my mom actually made me listen to your podcast with Ecoloop. And I had this dream of opening my alliance. And when I heard you, I actually thought that this is possible. So when I went to the school, and when they first talked community project, the first thing that came to my mind was sustainability. And the first thing we did was email UNICEF before doing anything else.
Oh my God. Okay, so that's how we got here.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you listened to my podcast, and it's really surprising. And honestly, yes. I'm just happy to hear that you're interested in the issue because it's super, super important. It's
Yeah.
a all hands on deck situation, and it really takes out the need for our creativity to come together. And find those innovative solutions as well. So, yeah, I would love to learn more about this project and what you hope to achieve and how exactly can I help you as well.
Okay, so our project is called BREATHE. It stands for Building Resilience, Empathy, Awareness Through Ecology. So, in my last school, I conducted this study seeing how sustainability can help your mental health. Because I always saw that people never really wanted to do sustainability with a whole heart. So, I thought, what if there was a way where their mental health could be better after doing sustainability? That way, they would actually indulge in those activities. So, the survey results and my whole study, the results were amazing. People actually did believe that sustainability can help your mental health. And if you believe it, then it can happen. So that's how we went forward with the Breed project in the new school. We're trying to convince people that sustainability can help your mental health. For that, we're just spreading awareness on social media. But the main thing to help the community is so we're developing this artificial intelligence. It's like this LLM RAG based artificial intelligence, and we're gonna again conduct surveys in companies. So we have one company on board, Mindify, and we have a college on board as well. So they're gonna do a survey, one on sustainability, one on well-being. According to that data that's in the survey, I'm gonna put it in the AI. It's gonna give sustainable and well-being practices for the office according to how things work over there, what kind of people are there, what they're comfortable with, and then after that, they're again going to take the survey to see if their mindset changed. Because again, we just want to make their mindset change in the end. We just want them to look at the world a different way after the survey and after sustainable activities. So I always wanted like a bigger perspective and a better perspective. So we're interviewing a lot of people. So do you know TurboLearn AI by any chance?
No, unfortunately not.
So it's this amazing AI which has helped so many students with their stress and school load. So we interviewed the founder of TurboLearn AI, and we got some amazing insights on how mental health is like really affected by school. Of course it was, but it's amazing how we got to see it from his eyes. So I just wanted to see sustainability from your eyes.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for sharing about this project as well. I think it's very important to make those connection around our mental health and well-being and also physical health in general to the climate crisis and the larger environmental and ecological crisis that we're seeing and how potentially taking care of the planet would also lead to us taking care of ourselves. Do you have any specific questions that you want to get the conversation started with?
Yes. So my first question is, how, in your opinion, if you were like in my place and you were going to have this whole project about sustainability, what would your approach and your like thought be on sustainability being connected to mental health? Because I know many people decline it.
Um, I think, okay, first of all, what we kind of have to address is the issue of what's happening around the world, right? Because we are so much more connected to what is happening around the world, especially because of technology and how it's so easy for us to get news from one part of the world right in front of our eyes through different social medias and other outlets as well. And I don't know if you have been seeing the news recently, but there's been devastating floods in Pakistan that has killed already thousands of people and have displaced and left so many people homeless right now. And there's also been devastating floods at the moment in Jammu and Kashmir in India as well. And this is just a few of those climate disasters that we're seeing across the world. And this definitely does put people's mental health at stake, specifically through increased eco anxiety and eco grief. Just seeing, just feeling like helpless and unable to do anything at the moment. And if we're to come back home to the UAE as well, we have been going through some extreme heat waves recently. Since last year as well, we've got recorded of like 51 degrees Celsius in places like Al Ain and in other parts of the UAE. And we're seeing issues of like that the heat wave was causing us in our health, specifically due to heat strokes and other like heat related issues. And it's very important for us to be conscious as when we step outside, what time are we stepping outside, and so on. And that has also not number one, like not only has that heat related issues caused like firsthand health concerns, as I said, it has also caused a layer of mental health issues, right? Because we're so forced to sitting inside our offices, inside our houses, with air conditioning, because it's incredibly difficult to step outside, even if we wanted access to green spaces, like maybe to wind down at a park or wind down at a beach, or just to connect with the nature around you. It's becoming really impossible to do that because it's extremely hot and we live in such like a heat trapped concrete jungle that also makes it so much more difficult in different spaces. And that definitely does create like a sense of loneliness, a sense of idealism, and also it increases the time that we're spending inside with our technologies. And it's there's been so many research done on how not having access to green spaces and having that opportunity to be outside, play can also affect children specifically, and also how it's been causing issues of like screen addiction, but also issues of obesity, because they're just sitting inside and having unhealthy eating habits and things like that. So it's definitely caused a layer of mental health issues as well. And another thing that people often don't talk about is that heat can have adverse impact on people who have mental health illnesses. So if those who have mental health illnesses such as depression, anxiety, and so on, are often also with medications, especially if they are on SSRI medications, it can actually affect their body's tolerance to heat because they're not able to regulate the body temperature under those medications compared to normal people. And so it kind of affects them further to be more prone to heat diseases. And it also, increases their how do you say, heightens their triggerness to the environment, and causing like a further impact on themselves in terms of the anxiety they're facing, the depression they're facing, and so on. So there's also a lot of research done on not only how it is creating mental health issues, but those who are um, under, like those who already struggle with mental illnesses are also being pushed to the brinks because of this, and something that we need to consider as well. So yeah, that all being said, definitely us taking care of the planet, whether that is through integrating sustainability into our livelihoods, because what exactly is sustainability, right? It can be not just our surroundings, like with sustainable architecture or sustainable urbanization, but it's also our way of living. How do we eat? How do we dress? How do we buy things and consume things? And how do we treat the environment around us? And so much more. So sustainability is not necessarily like an end product, or it is something that if you give an input, it has a specific output alone. It is more of a lifestyle, and it is also more of a mindset per se, because you are going beyond just individualism and not just seeing you yourself as an individual, but you're also starting to view the community around you, the people around you, and also the ecosystem around you, and that it's creating a nature of symbiosis, like the interconnection of yourself and others and the ecosystem that you're in, and to care for it specifically, and with the hopes of being able to do something with the different crises that you're witnessing over your phone. And it's definitely scary. If you read climate science, the way that the world is functioning right now is only going to take us to a more harmful place, a place with like larger temperature warming, because we're not in the current pathway to stay within some of the temperature goals that has been set for us by scientists with intense amount of research. So yeah, that would be my first impression per se, to really understand what is the world that we are living in, and how much of that are we witnessing, and how are we processing that information, and how does that affect our well-being in terms of feeling helplessness, or in terms of feeling motivation to do something, but also to think about in our everyday life, and how the climate crisis is already impacting our everyday life, such as the heat that I shared about. So yeah, that would be my kind of first observations per se.
Thank you so much. I literally remember the things you said. You said that sustainability is not an end product and it's a lifestyle. And that is like, I don't know why I didn't notice that before. You are so right about that. Thank you so much. I have one more question. So, in your opinion, in this generation, what small things would you want young people at our age or at elder ages or at younger ages to implement in their lives? Like sustainable things, just small things or anything.
For sure. When it comes to just children specifically, adults are important too, but children specifically, because they are not only the leaders of today, because they're already shaping their own communities, whether it is within their schools, families, friend circles, and so on, or the bigger ecosystems that they're part of. They're also going to be the leaders of tomorrow. I don't like to say only the leaders of tomorrow, because they're already the leaders of today. You're a leader, and so are so many other young people around us. And it's important for them to recognize that they have a role to play. They have their strengths, their creativity, their intellectual capabilities to contribute to the issues at hand. And they just need to feel that sense of motivation, that sense of that I can also do something about it. And that comes from education. That comes from having access to the right information and being able to use this information as tools to create solutions. Because if you didn't know what is happening, what exactly is the climate crisis? What exactly are we witnessing? How is the climate crisis impacting me in my day-to-day life? You don't have that knowledge and resources to do something about it. And that's why in my role as a UNICEF youth advocate, I worked really intensively during my mandate with the UNICEF office and the Ministry of Education to get a climate change education curriculum started in the UAE. And it was a very successful campaign and push because we did get it started, and we have it going in around 50% of the public and private schools now, where we're training the trainers to implement climate change education as a curriculum. And this is very important, right? Like another example that I give is like learning through experiencing, and that is very important for children as well. Imagine this, like you have a school garden, and you teach, let's say, kindergarten kids to grow their own food. So it kind of allows them to, through experience, through their hands and eyes, understand how, for example, you get a food product. How does it grow? How much time does it take? What nutrients does it need? How do I water it? How much sunlight is it taking in? And also to kind of enjoy what it's going to produce afterwards. And they're going to be able to cherish it so much more because they know all of the hard work it went through to, let's say, produce a tomato or a strawberry. And we've had like researchers or and experiences done, right? When they do this learning through experiencing, for example, the thing that I told about growing their own food gardens, it has led to children creating less food wastage, or like basically able to manage their food wastes better because they know, per se, like if it's a salad, not to waste it, because each of the like products that made up the salad took months and months to create and grow because they witnessed that themselves, because they grew the vegetables or the fruits, per se. So this is just like an example, right, where education comes in and learning and experiencing comes in. And we have other activities as well, such as like beach cleanups, or even going into learning the landscape of the UAE, the deserts, or go camping and go exploring and to understand what is the different ecosystem and how does it really contribute for us to all remain in harmony. And that's that. I feel like education is super important in that aspect. And then secondly is understanding what can we do, right? I feel like a lot of the how do you say, modern day philosophy around the climate crisis and the ecological crisis have sort of made it into how do you say, jargons, like big words that we use, such as sustainability, circular economy, upstream innovation, downstream innovation, and these all seem like really big words, and we're so perplexed by that, and we're unable to do anything about it. And that's why I really believe in the need to break it down to things that normal people understand, that normal people can resonate with, right? Because I can go to my mom and be like, oh, you need to do like more upstream usage in our household, and she's like, what does that even mean? And it's also that when I understood that, it's been a lot of these literature that is in like creating jargons. I took a moment to reflect on how I have lived my life, and how I've seen people around me live my life. And that came to me observing my grandmother, my grandmother, I would say in modern day world, she would be a sustainability zero waste queen, whatever terminology you want to put on it, but I've seen her make bags out of clothes that we don't fit into anymore, or create, from her old clothes, she would make new skirts and tops for us. Like that is reusing the material. And I have seen her, no, instead of using plastic, how she comes up with different designs, like using a hard shell of a coconut as a pot, creating spoons with leaves, and also taking like the how do you say, it's like a part of the coconut that you get, and you can turn that into ropes, and
Yeah, yeah.
creating like fans and all with those ropes, and things like that. So I would say like sustainability, if we think about it, has been embedded into a lot of our cultural practices, a lot of our traditions, and our livelihoods. And when we simplify it, it becomes so something that we can take an action around. So it's also, you start to think about, how am I shopping for my clothes, right? Am I depending on fast fashion, or am I
Welcome to
looking
Breathe,
into
a trailer.
how my clothes have been made? How am I thrifting per se? And it also looks into, how am I shopping for my fruits and vegetables? And also, am I using more plastic? Simple things. And am I using a public transport when I could be using a public transport instead of taking a car? So these are all smaller things that we can do in a day-to-day life that we often don't see. And something that we also need to do is things as a community. So to create, let's say, a waste management system in the building, by getting the building owner to set up a recycling and box near your place, or a clothes recycling box near your place, and things like that. So there has to be actions in that community level as well. But yeah, I feel like we have been so disempowered by these big jargons that we forget to see that these are practices that we can easily do.
Yes, that is so amazing. And yes, I can totally relate that in our culture, recycling and like making sure that plastic bags or fruit peels they don't go to waste. And I feel like that's an amazing thing. Every culture should have sustainability kind of there, so everyone's aware of it, if not in school, if at home. And you gave me this amazing idea that I was thinking to make like this 3 days conference thing where we can call grade fours and fives and teach them a little bit about sustainability. What would you think of that?
No, that would be super cool. To pass down that knowledge to different children and different ages.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Super important.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you would have,
We,
yes, yes.
no, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so if you would have one message to them, like when we first go there, what would you like me to say?
Oh, this is hard. One message, what would I say? Um, I think I would say we are all powerful in our own ways,
Okay.
because often at times, especially as children, you're told that you can do this when you grow up, or you will do that when you grow up. And we forget that even at our current age and with our current knowledge, we're still powerful. There's still things that we can take action around and do. And I've learned that working with UNICEF, because I used to go to so many schools and teach children about climate change. And I've had firsthand experiences of all of the ideas that they would come up with. And I'm like, just because they're children, they are ignored when it comes to making solutions, when it comes to making decisions, or setting up structures that is made for them, because they're looked down upon. And as a young person myself who advocates for other young people, I just want to tell to the children that you're powerful in your own way, and you are allowed to be leaders of today. So it's completely up to you how you can take ownership of that and how you can use your creativity, your tools, and your knowledge to come up with some of the solutions that the world needs. You don't have to wait for the adults around you, and you don't have to wait for the future.
Okay, that's really amazing, really deep. I will definitely say that to them. So I have a few more questions. So from So a lot of people like they say that even recycling one small bottle would really help, but other people say that they feel like their actions don't matter. So as the question final is, many feel their actions don't matter. What would you say to encourage them?
Mm, think about it this way. If with if you think my actions don't matter, and that's a single individual, there are millions of another single individual saying the same thing. So it is just identifying that it's not just you in the process, but there is lots of other people that think the same. And you taking a step forward can also inspire so many others. Because when I came into this work, I didn't think that I would be able to impact my community. I didn't think that I would be able to teach other children in schools or build a curriculum or do any of the things that I did because I felt so helpless and small. But it was this one moment in my life that completely changed me and that made me realize we, due to the current ecological crisis, we don't have the privilege to sit here and think that my actions don't matter. We don't have the time to do that. We're in a state where anything that we do counts towards building a better future for everybody. And when that realization hit me is when I understood it doesn't matter how small or big, I am going to take that action. And if that allows other people to be inspired, and that's just going to create so much more of a ripple effect. It's like a domino effect, like one thing can lead to another. And therefore, you need to take that one step forward. That would be my message to other people. And you know what? Yes, 100% the actions that we take at the individual level needs to be paralleled or needs to be combined with actions that is being taken at a systemic level by industries and companies and governments, and all of that. Because if, for example, the country doesn't have a plastic pollution law, just because individuals recycle doesn't mean it is not going to stop many of the industries in that company to continue to produce large scale amount of plastics. So definitely we need to call for attention towards that systemic level of change as well. But we also have a lot of power, especially as consumers. That's something that people forget. One of our biggest power that we hold is us as consumers. Where are we putting our money? How are we spending our money? And when we understand that the money that we spend holds lots of value and lots of power, and that can shape and change different cycles and processes. Like, for example, if we have more people opting for vegan food would start becoming more accessible in supermarkets and restaurants. And the more people that do opt for it, it becomes easier to reduce the prices for it. And similarly, if more people opt for using products that has less plastic packaging, it also creates a trend for producing more products that has less plastic packaging. So yeah, that would be things that I would say.
All right, thank you so much. So